Welcome to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you burn fat, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey, are you an aging athlete? Are you over 40 and struggling to get your desired results? I understand your frustrations. If you're like me, you're trying to get your running back or your cycling back or whatever sport you love to do, and you just can't figure out what's missing in your performance gains. How is your training and fueling program working for you? That's what I do. I personalize your nutrition and health program for you based on a bunch of different things. We collect data, collect clues from nutritional therapy assessment, from a food log with symptoms. Look at your genetics. If you've done something as DNA Fit, look at blood chemistry panels. Let's look at functional lab tests as a Vibrant Wellness wheat zoomer to test if you have leaky gut and sensitivity to wheat, peptides in foods. Look at food sensitivity labs. And Dutch tests, look at your hormones. So we look at all these hidden internal sources of chronic stress that may be impacting your ability to burn fat, improve performance, and longevity. So if you want to talk about how we can personalize your fueling, training, and performance plan, let me know. Set up a discovery call. Head to my website, debbiepotts.net, and reach out. Set up a call and we can chat about how I can help you be the best version of yourself. So you can stop blaming the aging process and instead change your mindset that you're embracing the change, that we train differently in our 40s and up versus what you did when you're 20, 30-year-old. We need to adjust how we eat, when we eat, why and how, but also match our nutrition with our exercise program and add some more health building lifestyle habits into our day. I call this all the holistic method comprehensive coaching program, where I work on individualizing clients' nutrition, exercise, stress reduction, sleep, movement, time outside, digestion and gut health, hydration, and my favorite, happiness, play, and laughter. So if you want to know more how you can be your best self, live your best life, and perform your best, head to debbiepotts.net, schedule a discovery call with me, and we can get started on your new health building journey. You can be that amazing athlete and stop blaming the aging process. Hey, it's Debbie, and I am bringing back Latt from HVMN Ketone IQ to talk about the protocols they have suggested on their website for athletic performance and recovery. So if you haven't listened to Ketone IQ benefits and the science behind it, head back to earlier this year in 2022 as we record to listen to Latt on H.V.M.N. They just came out with these little bottles that I love to use, and I've been experimenting taking them before a long run, speed workout night that I do Tuesdays with a track group, and on my long bike ride. And then if I'm going 4-hour bike ride, I'll take it halfway through. So I'm testing them out on myself, but also I have been using it for work on demanding days that I need to focus on speaking correctly on a podcast and thinking and staying in the zone. So I've been experimenting because it is N=1. And also I'm just curious on how to be better. As I keep thinking lately, we start to feel like, oh, I'm doing great. I feel like I'm performing my best. But what I think about is, if this becomes your normal, you don't realize that you could be so much better. So really looking at so-called biohacking ourselves to be a better version of ourselves to improve performance and longevity, the aging process, and our health for today and our future self, that we can do these little things to help improve our cognition, our fat burning, our brain health, because I'm all focused about my future self. So Ketone IQ, we'll talk to Latt for athletic performance. So the new bottles are these drinkable little bottle sizes. I said you can just throw in your back pocket when you're biking, or I put them in my work bag if I'm working off site as I go to our club, Bay Club, and work there some days. So it's a drinkable ketone designed to be taken daily to support mental clarity, athletic performance, and metabolic health. Now, the drinkable ketones don't have any caffeine or sugar, just clean, natural energy to power your brain and your body. So your brain uses glucose, but it can use ketones. So that's why we can have this dual fuel for our brain and have extra fuel to keep us sharp without spiking the glucose up. So it's pretty cool. And they have lots of research on it. You can learn all about it on the website H.V.M.N. And the Ketone IQ can help key benefits athletic performance to help elevate levels of ketones in the blood, which I was asked, why do we need that? It acts as a fuel and alters the way the body uses other fuel sources. And the ketones are 28% more efficient as a fuel than glucose alone and does not contribute, as I already said, to sugar crashes or insulin spikes. So this gives the athlete the ability to sustain peak mental clarity during competitions as they use this similar product in the Tour de France, which may also improve performance. So the target blood ketone levels is 1.5, 2.5 millimoles that they've been experimenting with. Now, so endurance athlete protocol, you drink 30 to 60 minutes, one serving of the Ketone IQ before exercise with your usual pre-workout fuel. And so for extended exercise, you take additional serving every 2 hours. So listen to Latt and the research links. We'll put everything in the show notes. If you head to debbiepotts.net, I did a few blogs on this topic and on the podcast show page. Save money with our discount code low carb athlete, all one word, when you check out, and test it out on yourself. They also have benefits for recovery and sleep. So let's bring on Latt and dive into the science behind this protocol. Hey guys, this is Debbie, and I'm going to talk to Latt again for a follow-up on how to use, when to use, why we should use them. H.V.M.N. Ketone IQ. They're new bottles. You can't see so well because I have my webpage open for them. But I'm in testing out the Ketone IQ before a long ride or run and during the workout when I can remember to pack it. It's a little harder when I'm running because I don't have any pockets. But when I go for a long bike ride, I am trying to test this out. So like going for a 3-4 hour bike ride, it might have it hour and a half, 2 hours into it, just to see if it does anything to my performance. Now, I honestly would like to lose some weight. So fat loss is a goal. I have a little bit of weight to lose, but also I want to improve performance. I'm trying to get stronger and faster. And I think if you are like me, aging athlete, we need to work on speed. So let me bring in Latt, and we're going to talk about how we can use this and talk about the science and the protocol behind it. So let me just push pause here and bring him in. All right, guys, I've got the smart guy here, Latt, on the show to talk a little bit more about these new ketone shots. So as I've been sharing on my Instagram, Low Carb Athlete, and on Facebook, how to use Ketone IQ shots for the endurance athlete, as they have some protocols on the H.V.M.N. website to take it before, when to take it during, and how it can help our recovery. So I asked Latt to come do a short little video with us to explain the science. Like, why do I need to take ketones? How's it going to help me if I'm not a Tour de France cyclist? Or, well, my friend last weekend did a 40-hour bike ride, and she really needed these, and I couldn't find any more because I gave them away. That's when you need, when you have to ride your bike in the middle of the night and not sleep for 40 hours. So, Latt, thanks for coming on. Show us your brilliancy on your ketone research.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So let's start with covering the basics, right? So ketones, what are the roles of ketones in exercise, endurance exercise, in general? ketones are essentially providing you with energy. So if you look at ketones the way you look at glucose, the way you look at fats, it's essentially the same. It gets broken down into the cell, in the mitochondria to be specific, and get metabolized to provide and produce ATP, which is energy, which is what you need for exercise, right? So the different types of, so when we talk about calories, calories is essentially, how much energy this molecule is producing. And this is where it differs slightly between glucose, ketones, and fats. And what we have seen in research is that when you have ketones for endurance exercise as well as glucose, you are creating this hybrid fuel situation where you are able to tap into the metabolism of carbs as well as metabolism of ketones. So that's why in the research, we found that the people who are on carbs and ketone, they tend to be able to run further, or in the time trial, they tend to be able to have a higher work output. So that's
at what intensity though? Is that when they're
that's
anaerobic or aerobic?
So they have pre-fatigue for about an hour to 3 hours, depending on which study you're looking at, and then they'll ask them to do a 15-minute time trial. So that intensity is up to you. It's like as hard as you can push for 15 minutes and see, and then they measure the work output.
Okay. So is that different? If that sounds like it's more anaerobic?
Yeah.
Workout versus aerobic endurance.
It's like the last sprint after an endurance, because they've pre-fatigued before. So
yes, got it.
And then the protocol that they introduce, the way they use it is essentially take ketones half an hour before, and then if the workout is longer than 2 hours, you top up around 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Now the dosage is also it also varies between body weights. So that is one shot. It's 10 grams of ketones in there, 10 grams of iron-3-butanediol. Certain people who are, larger mass, they're heavier, they prefer to take two of those shots before workout. And then after 90 minutes, they top up with one shot. So that's one way to do it.
Okay. So I'm doing track workout at 6:00 tonight.
Okay.
Speed work running. So would it help me doing a speed workout that'll be 1 hour long? Should I take a shot before?
That's fine. I don't think you have to top up. I think it will still help you during the workout for the pre-workout sort of protocol. And you will find yourself just easier in terms of doing the workout and have more energy. But there's no need to top up, given that it's not going to last longer than an hour.
Yes, but take it 30 minutes beforehand.
Yes,
right.
Take it 30 minutes before.
Speed workout sucks. So whatever help I can get, you're going all out.
30 minutes to 1 hour. That's fine. You don't have to stick exactly there, but most people find 30 minutes as the sweet spot. So, try just do your own experiment. So that's the pre-workout protocol. Okay. There is another study that shows the post-workout recovery protocol. So that study, they put the cyclists through Tour de France sort of training regime, and after they finish workout, half an hour after, they are given carbs, protein, so the standard recovery strategy, with ketones.
Okay.
And then they also take it before sleep. Same thing, carbs, protein with ketones. So they take either 2 or 3 doses per day, because they either work out once or twice a day and then before sleep. And that study, after 3 weeks, they saw an improvement of 15% work output. So over time, there's a compounding effect where they recover better and they possibly sleep better. And because of that, they're able to push more and more, and it compounded over the course of 3 weeks, and it improves work output by 15%.
So would that the recoveries, and what are they using to measure their improvement in recovery and their sleep? Like the sleep, is it Oura Ring, like HRV?
No, they didn't. They didn't measure the sleep. We are measuring. We are running a study right now with University of North Georgia, where we do have sleep data and HRV and all that. that is, I believe we are completing data collection end of October. So hopefully we have very exciting data to share, which is very specific to ketone IQ as well, because a lot of these prior studies were on ketone esters, but we believe that it's the elevation of blood ketones, regardless of the means of exogenous ketones that you use, that gives you the benefit. So this study we are very excited about because it's specifically on ketone IQ. We are looking at sleep quality for a week, and then we are putting them through physical activity as well as cognitive tests. So we want to look at the coordination, we want to look at the reaction time, as well as physical endurance. So very exciting study there. With this study that I just mentioned, in terms of the improvement of recovery, that's why I said maybe sleep, because they didn't measure it, but I'm assuming, 3 weeks of grueling exercise and training and you see an improvement, you have to have some form of good quality sleep, right?
Yes.
They measured the work output, the calories intake, but they didn't really measure sleep per se, or sort of like recovery per se.
Yeah, it'd be good if you could just track I don't know if the REM or the deep sleep would change from it. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, that will be
change.
super interesting as well, for sure. And in terms of, like, if you look at isolated cases as well, in terms of studies, they have shown when taken together with carbs and proteins, ketones have shown an improvement in leucine-mediated mTOR activation, which means protein synthesis. So that also helps with recovery as well. And then another paper that infuse ketones with glucose post-exercise improve glycogen resynthesis by 50%. So you are replenishing your glycogen. Now, this is very important for endurance exercise athletes, especially if they're going back to back to back, after the next day, you need your glycogen stores for your next day. You need your body to be able to break down the glucose that you consume, and then, reconstitute that and form your glycogen stores again. And that has shown to be, helpful when taken with ketones and glucose. That's specifically on my muscle biopsies.
Interesting. So going back to the protein and the carbohydrates, do they have a specific what you'd have? Like, is it a whey protein? Because I know whey is highest in leucine. And what type of carbs? Like, do you throw berries in a whey protein shake? Is that your carb and protein? I wonder what they researched.
I believe it's dextrose, and the protein is just a standard bulk protein of 60%. I can pull out the data if you want.
Yeah, well, I can look it up after. I just am always curious because they'll say protein and carbs, but people always want to know what, like carbohydrates. I'm trying to clarify their nature's carbs, berries, non-potatoes, sweet potatoes, stuff like that. Right. But if we're not saying have a bagel and some whey protein mixed together somehow, but not mixed together, but like two sources. So it'd be good to have. Just thinking it's a great opportunity to share some examples of how we would do that.
Carbohydrate total is about 60 grams. 60. Has 30 grams of maltodextrin, 20 grams of sucrose, 10 grams of fructose. Oh. In terms of protein, they have non-essential amino acid 15.9 grams. Total protein is 31 gram. Non-essential, of which non-essential amino acid 15.9, essential amino acid 15.1, of which leucine is 3.13 grams.
Interesting, all those carbohydrates. I think I'd get sick from all that. Yeah,
there's like 60 whole gram. But granted, these people are working out for quite a long time as well. I'm posting the link here on Zoom, so you can take a look at the paper.
Yeah. Great.
So they have 70 minutes, and then intermittent training, and then they've got 70 minutes, and then they've got double training 30 and 90 minutes. So they're quite intense.
Okay. So question.
Yes.
It sounds like a lot of the studies so far have been done in more anaerobic sports versus fat burning, kind of low heart rate training. Because even the Tour de France, I think they're racing at pretty high heart rates.
Yes.
But is there benefit or when you're burning fat for fuel already as like a maffetone, we call it max aerobic function heart rate, 120, 130, zone 2, to take ketones if I'm going for a 3-hour bike ride or 2-hour run, keeping at my low zone 2?
See, I would say yes, you would get a benefit, but the problem with running a study on endurance is that it's hard to measure, right? Because how are you going to measure it, right? It's like how far this person can go. I mean, some people can go for, like the whole day. So in order to make the study more feasible and readily accessible, they sort of make it into a big bulk of it being endurance. And then at the end of it, they're like, okay, last minute sprint, go. You're already tired. So the whole premise of these studies is around fatiguing these athletes to the maximum, and then to see if there's any spare gas left.
So I was just at a 50K trail run last weekend, and they could have done this there. It was they had a 100K and a 50K, and they had this horrible last 5K loop after the finish line. So they had to go past the finish line, go do a 5K, and then finish. So that's where you would take it.
Yeah, exactly. I think in general though, in like just steady heart rate or from low to intermediate like intensity endurance exercise, I could definitely see ketones generally just providing energy to you, regardless whether you are keto adapted or you're glucose adapted, because you will burn ketone readily anyway. So a lot of people, they don't understand. It's like, what if I'm not keto adapted? Know that our body evolutionarily already have the enzymes and hormones needed to metabolize ketones. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter whether you're on keto diet or you're not on keto diet, or you have never, been on a keto diet. If you drink ketones right now, ketone IQ right now, you will be able to reap the benefit and get the energy out of it. And that's the beauty of exogenous ketones, because you don't need that adaptation period. You are straight up giving your body ketones that is readily available to be metabolized. Mm-hmm. So having said that, would that help with fat burning? I don't think it will help with fat burning directly, but it will help your body to, if you're on keto diet, you are already burning fat, it will help upregulate those enzymes to burn more ketones when you run out of the exogenous ketones. So your body goes from exogenous, you run out, and then it switches back to the endogenous ketone that you produce from your fat. And that also creates that buffer period where you can run longer as well. So you're pushing yourself further, you feel better, and you are priming your body to be able to burn all the fat afterwards already.
Okay. Yeah. And I think also it comes to mind people that are trying to do low carb and get fat adapted and show some nutritional ketosis in their testing, but they can't. They're struggling because they have hidden internal stressors as pathogens, for example, or mold toxicity or some internal stressors. So I'm finding this because I coach athletes that we do their lab testing as well to get a personalized coaching program. So there's a lot of people that struggle to burn fat. And if they use like Biosense or Keto Mojo or something to say, okay, am I showing any ketones, but it's low, even though it's overnight, or even though they're testing in the middle of the day and there's no ketones, maybe they're struggling to have their metabolism or something's broken inside, but taking a shot might help them get the clarity of the benefits of ketone for brain fuel. Focus. Yeah, that's what I was thinking to help. So we've got like long endurance sports and then like technical sports. I was talking to your team about people doing adventure racing, or my friend that just did this crazy 600K bike ride here in Encinitas, Saturday to Sunday. And it was nonstop 40 hours. And then, people doing back-to-back multi-days, like she's doing Ultraman. That's 3 days of crazy endurance. So I think that's when it even would be more advantage to take something like this when you are exhausted and you need to ride your bike and not fall off of it. A lot of our endurance athlete customers, as well as participants in studies, have told us subjectively they do feel more alert and more aware of the situation and their environment. So that allows them to really focus on what they ought to do and at the task at hand. Essentially, if they are going to bike, they are like razor focus. They're not having like, because when you're tired, when your brain is fatigued, your mind start wandering and you're like getting more tired and you're thinking a lot of other things. And I think the focus, the mental clarity aspect of ketones do come in quite handy when you are already at the end of the tether and you're already, stretched out to the maximum and you're trying to finish the race Yeah, I think it's like I would say fat loss, performance, and longevity, but it's more for me as an aging athlete that
Mm,
I'm 50 years old now and I want to get stronger and faster and leaner,
yeah.
stronger over leaner, but it's the importance of how, as an aging athlete, how we're a little different than we were at 30. I don't blame the aging process. I would say embrace the changes and embrace the aging process. So I think for aging athletes, this can help for a little hack to improve performance on my long run and doing speed work and try to get a little more performance gains. So that's more getting that dual fuel source that will help me stay alert, maybe help pass that, like work with fatigue a little better, efficiency.
Yeah. How about your subjective feel? Because you've obviously used it for a while now. I know.
Yeah.
We've sent you some. How do you use it, and how have you felt?
Well, mostly I was using it before the shots come out for work days. But
Okay.
what I'm curious is, like, especially when I'm working off site and there's no food to eat, where I go work at the Bay Club and like, okay, I have like 4 hours of calls to do. So I'm trying to remember to take it before my long bike ride on the weekend, like Saturdays, and before my long run on Sunday. So I've been doing that to see if it helps my performance, because running is a lot more stressful on your body, obviously, than biking. And so that's kind of my area of opportunity right now, and to get my running speed back. But I think, I have to remember to take it this Sunday. I'm doing a 2-hour run. So I have to remember to pack it because I don't have pockets. So it's, shove it down my top or something. Whoops. And then I just took myself off. But I think, trying that to see if it helps my being able to go longer, basically, and keep from avoiding fatigue and extend that endurance. Because I have been doing long stuff and I used to be a lot faster, and I'm trying to do that. So this is kind of my new little test. So I haven't found any difference yet, but I haven't taken it during.
Okay.
But biking, it's hard to test because I'm usually pretty good on cycling and I love it. So I'm already in a good spot. Yeah. Biking is just stressful.
And that's exactly why those studies like test on athletes who are already maxed out, because most of the time they don't feel the difference, right? Because they are used to doing that stuff. They are so fit, and if you don't use athletes, then you have the other problem of individual variability because of the different or various fitness levels. So you have to pick your fights essentially. Yeah. So in most of these studies, they pick the athletes because at least it's more homogeneous in terms of fitness level. But the caveat is that you have to really tire them out and push them as far as you could before you can see, what is that extra edge that you are giving them? What is that extra push that ketones are, giving them to reach that finish line? Yeah. So,
no, I really notice it. I do on the bike ride because I could go longer and I was feeling really strong, and I don't really need to eat much on a bike ride. I just have sometimes a bar for our bike ride and a fuel with LMNT. And I took this and I felt strong to the end. And my friend, I must say, that did that crazy 40-hour bike ride, she took some of this in her training rides last week and didn't have time to eat. And she did a little video on her Instagram, Ingrid, and she kicked butt. So she really felt a difference when she was going into something mentally exhausted. Great. Sorry, I keep touching my cord keeps hitting off. But she felt a difference because she went into it being mentally fatigued, trying to get logistics of a bike course. So she really felt it was pretty fun to see the difference on her brain to clarity to get her mind and the game on a course where you don't know where you're riding. So
I recently gave it to a friend who's a swimming instructor, but he also has classes, beforehand. So he'll have like 2-hour classes and then go straight to work and be in the water and be a straight swim instructor. And then after that, he has to go home and do his homework. And he's always complaining that I'm too tired. Like my brain is just not working to do these math questions. So I gave him a bottle and it was like, why don't you just try it? And he's like, okay, I definitely feel like I'm more energetic, at least like keeps me up for the duration of time where I need to do my homework, but also keep me focused. A lot of people, they describe it as kind of stimulant-like effect without the stimulating effect, without the jittery, it's like calm energy for your brain to like really to work with.
All right, so last question, then I know you have to go. female athletes versus male, because I always ask this now whenever research studies, because they're usually always on men because women are hard to test because of our hormone cycle. So any research that you found for females versus male?
At the moment for exogenous ketones, I haven't found any yet. There was one study looking at ketogenic diet and the effect on basal metabolic rate, which showed for postmenopausal women and men are similar.
Yeah.
But premenopausal women, they found their basal metabolic rate, I believe it decreased with ketogenic diet. So
it's slowed down.
Which is very interesting. Yeah, because most people, they found that, they lose weight, but then, obviously you think like, oh, I'm increasing my basal metabolic rate, but they're actually slowing down. So is that because, the lack of, or the appetite suppression effect that is causing them to eat less and therefore making the body sort of thing to go into more survival mode and lower the basal metabolic rate? Or is the body lowering the basal metabolic rate, but in all like sort of general terms, it's still having calorie deficit and yet having that energy? So your body says, okay, I am lowering my basal metabolic rate, but I can still meet the energy expenditure demand of my body and brain because I'm on ketogenic diet, because the ketone makes so much difference compared to a high carb diet, so that I am actually losing weight, being in a healthier weight. I don't need that high basal metabolic rate. I'm preserving my functions and I'm still, thriving. So a lot of studies, can sort of like still around the corner and in the horizon to be seen and investigate the actual mechanisms here and the difference between age groups, the difference between genders, the difference between athletes versus normal people.
There's so
many different, because metabolism is unique to each individual. As much as we want to generalize it and have one paper that tells us everything, yes, I'm a scientist, but I also don't know everything, right?
No.
So everyone wants that one size fits all answer, and it's really difficult.
Yeah.
So all I can say is that I'll send you some ketones, go trial and error, see how you feel. That's the best way, because then you know your body best.
That's so good. Yeah, I think it just goes with everything I've been saying on the show and on social media, that it's always, the personalized nutrition, and N=1 to figure out your nutrition and match your fueling and your training together, your exercise program. And then dive into more specifics for the female athlete. Premenopausal is so different. And, close perimenopausal women, as myself, I have to lift weights more. And it's just looking at what you're doing and try to enhance the battle of, like you said, the metabolism slowing down. So if you look at what Dr. Stacy Sims says, and then add heavy lifting, short, intense interval training, and cycle in some carbs, I think it's important for women to get more protein, lift more, and then take the ketone shots for the brain clarity. Don't go nutritional ketosis around ovulation and late luteal phase, is what Dr. Mindy Pelz is showing a ton of research on in her new book. So I think it's great for women always to clarify, this is what we find, but for menstrual or menopausal women, it's going to be slightly different. So it's always insanity if you're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same results, and you're gaining weight, it's getting slow, and your brain fog, and it's always like, okay, stop and figure it out. And
also always remember, like, ketone, as much as it's being shown to have so much benefits, you still need the other building blocks. Like if you're an endurance athlete, like glucose, it's also like glycogen stores, it's very important as well. I mean, unless you are fully on keto diet, which is fine, then you can tap into your fat stores. But a lot of competitive races, they prefer to use the hybrid. But also, for example, building muscle, like combating aging and sarcopenia. Like muscles need amino acids to build. So you need that protein intake. So while the study showed an improvement in mTOR activation and protein synthesis, but it has to be taken with proteins. So it's, leucine, all the essential amino acid and non-essential amino acids.
Yeah, I think people are getting that partially. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's research is really showing the protein importance and all the research you guys are showing. So it's slowly getting out there and then trying to, for me, hit the endurance athletes and the aging athlete and then the female athlete.
Yeah,
Different
exactly.
categories. So,
all the subsets.
yeah, I know there's so many. So where can people learn more? Where's the best place to send everyone to keep on top of your research coming out?
HVMN for all social media tags, HVMN, and then Latt Mansor, LATTMANSOR on Instagram and Twitter. I have been doing IG Live with Jenilyn and Chris Irvin every week as well, just talking about various topics around health and around this week we talked about leaky gut. So just join in and ask questions and comments on there. I do look at comments and reply whenever I can. So
Chris and I recorded a podcast last week and we did 10 minutes on Ketone IQ. So we did a little promo for you guys without being intentional. So every time I put that bottle down, I shut my video off. Some reason, magic potion of the shot. It's power. So thanks so much, Latt. I will follow up with a little more info for everyone on my website and send them the link to order the Ketone IQ bottles. I think it's perfect for your working off site, traveling, and for your bike back pocket. I've been putting it in there and then running beforehand. And I'm going to test it out in my track workout tonight. So
please do write me an email and tell me how you feel.
Yeah, because I'm in the third group and I got to work my way up to the second group.
and then we can fine tune the protocol if we need to.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, I'm back from talking with Latt, and I just wanted to show you some info where to find HVMN.com pages ketone science. So if you look down here on their website, if you're watching the video, it's not that they're a keto diet, they are working on metabolic health. And so I'm more focused on brain health, aging, and looking at that, but also performance. I think it's pretty cool. So they have this broken up into the health optimizer, the athlete, and the keto dieter. So you can check out the cognitive benefits and longevity, hunger control, better glucose management. But in the middle, you can see the athlete who follows a metabolically demanding training schedule, naturally elevated ketones by depleting their carb stores before workouts and competitions, drink ketones for endurance, cognitive clarity, and support recovery. So if we look at the enhanced recovery, you'll be able to see their protocol down on my website, put the link so you can look at those. But good information on here. If you want to learn more, let me know. And they have, I think good information on their website as here, 4-path to ketones. Yes, you can get more ketones doing a low carb, but as we've experienced, not everyone needs to go 20, 50 grams total carbs a day, especially your athlete. You can probably have a larger storage tank in your muscles. The stronger you are, more muscle you have a bigger suitcase to carry around more carbs. So if you choose to have more nature's carbs, you can tolerate more. Some people just prefer to be strict carnivore and eat the organ meats and nose to tail and feel like they get enough nutrients that way. Others may want some cauliflower, some coleslaw, like I had today, coleslaw, olives, and carnivore crisp ribeye. Dried ribeye on my salad. So, to each his own. I cycle in and out. Sometimes I do more carnivore. Sometimes I feel like some vegetables. Sometimes I just want to eat meat. So listen to your body. But also exercising. You'll see, you can get ketosis benefits. Exercising, intermittent fasting exercise can speed up your body's process of burning carb stores. And this will trigger the body to start producing ketones for energy. So you can see that on the website. And of course, we know the benefits of intermittent fasting is a natural way to get into ketosis. So carb restricted dieting, a lot of people don't want to do that, but intermittent fasting in a smart way. And for females, they really need to be careful if you're cycling to just fasting before ovulation and after ovulation and before luteal phase. You don't want to fast during ovulation or your luteal phase. And so you can see on the website here of H.V.M.N, you can talk to them more, but the benefit of keto intermittent fasting and how when you've been fasting longer, you can show more ketones. And this is something I've been testing with BioSense, a breath test in the morning. It's also indication of other stressors in the body. If you're not showing ketosis in fasting, maybe there's something else going on with your metabolic health. So that's what I do with clients, kind of test and investigate hidden internal stressors and external stressors. And when is it good for you to fast and when is it not? Also, working on nutrition and looking at when is the best time to do a 24-hour fast. Maybe it's better to do a bone broth fast. But going back to Ketone IQ, I think it's interesting to experiment when you haven't had time to eat, take a shot, or when you're like doing a big meeting, Zoom call, you're going out with business meeting, you need to focus and be on your game, trying the ketone shots. But I think for long bike rides and long runs, and today I'll test it out my speed workout. So check out Instagram, see what I felt, but I will continue doing my own study because it's N=1 journey. So lots more on HVMN, the benefits of ketones and fasting you'll find on here. But also you'll see the links I can put in. Nutritional ketosis alters fuel performance and endurance performance in athletes. So a study that they shared and how taking ketones can help. And then I think the study he just sent me might be the same, but ketone esters blunts overreaching symptoms during endurance training overload. So that's an interesting article on when they are in, let's see what this study was. So taking ketones at the end of the workout when they're exhausted, I think was this study. So I'll put this in the YouTube show notes here, and you can head to my website, debbiepotts.net, and you can find out more on there. Also, Alta Labs, I was sharing in our Keto for Endurance Facebook group page. You can join. You just have to answer the questions the right way, so I let you in the group. But Alta Labs, one, they always have a 20% off. So see, just popped up, 20% off always. And there's a lab down here if you scroll down to baseline panels, depending on your budget, but advanced or the comprehensive. This one is $389 plus another 20% off. This is something I would look at getting. And then if you want to do health coaching with me, I assess this information, put it in a narrow range that we use as FDN practitioners. But see the hormones tested SHBG, T3, reverse T3 is super important, total T3, T3 uptake, T4, free T4, the antibodies. We really need to get these full package lab tests, CRP, and this has a whole CBC and comprehensive metabolic panel, all the normal ones, but doctors are not testing all these other ones for inflammation and liver detoxification. And still, you need to often go in and add insulin. So insulin is on there, but vitamin D. So you can go up here, and this is my page, altalabs.com, Debbie Potts Coaching. But you can just say, okay, I want insulin. And what that is, something we should all know what our insulin level is. And it's $26. It's ridiculous. So why doctors don't test this drives me nuts. So you can get this, add it into your cart and get this tested. You can just go, I think this one is find a lab near you, LabCorp, or they use Quest. So you can use the Quest near you. So they're all over the US, not around international, because I have clients in Australia and New Zealand and Portugal and London, and it's always different people, different providers out there. So check Alta Labs, and that would be great. I think that's a great way to get started on getting healthy. So looking at your ketones for performance, but looking at the holistic method coaching, we want to identify hidden internal stressors and external stressors and figure out how you can be your best self to perform your best in life and sports. So the ketone shots, head over to the library blog page on HVMN. They have such good information. If you want to try Ketone IQ, we have a code. I try to always use low carb athlete, but you can use our code and get a discount off of the little bottles. We're out of stock, but 3-pack, or you can get the it's 24 shots you'll get in one kit for $120. But I don't use them every day. I'll use them strategically for key workouts. So if you're on a budget, you just have to save them. So spread them out. But yeah, check it out. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I just want to do a special podcast just to share Latt's protocols with you, and go to debbiepotts.net and look at my blog page with HVMN protocols for exercise endurance and recovery. And again, he talked about sleep too, so you can test it out. So N=1 experiment. So try it out yourself and document in your training peaks or however you track your workouts and your Oura Ring scores or your Whoop, and look at if you felt any difference, if you saw any improvement in speed, any improvement in your heart rate variability. I think it's fun to kind of collect all that data and have biometrics so you can measure changes with taking the Ketone IQ. All right, enjoy.
Thanks for listening to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at debbiepotts.net. You can help us to continue to grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.